If you're anything like me a few years ago, your squat isn't making very much progress. I always hear intermediate guys say that the bar feels very heavy on their back, and it continues to feel heavy every single week. It never really feels any lighter. You squat a certain weight for your 5x5 or 3x5 on week 1, and then when you get to the end of the block, maybe on week 6 or week 12, the bar just feels heavier, heavier, and heavier, and then you start grinding reps, you start failing, and you never actually hit any PRs. I used to always feel this way until I learned more about programming. Now when I run a training block for my squat, the weight actually feels lighter and lighter as I go through the weeks of the program, even though I'm putting more weight on the bar. And it's got me to the point where I've been able to almost squat 250 kilos, and I've coached a bunch of other guys to squat 4, 5, 6, and even close to 7 plate squatters. If you want me to review your squat programming and technique so that we can fix this issue and actually get your squat strong, top link in the description, you can hire me as your personal strength coach, or second link if you just want to go run my strength training programs and PR your squat. So let's get straight into it. The bar constantly feels heavy on your back when you squat, and it never really feels any lighter. And I know exactly how this feels. And if you're an intermediate guy following one of those generic programs, I always experience the scenario where it's like I start week 1 of the program, and you expect that you're going to get stronger, and the same weight is going to feel a bit lighter week after week, right? If you squat like 3 plates on week 1, by week 4, week 5, you would expect 3 plates to feel a bit lighter on your back. But with a lot of these programs, because they're not set up appropriately for you, the weight just feels the same or heavier, and you just start failing reps and you don't really get any stronger. So what do? I'm going to give you the 3 best fixes for this problem that I've picked up over 10 plus years of coaching and training. So fix number 1, this one is the most simple, and we can do this before we even look at programming or technique or anything like that. And the first one is just to unrack the bar with more aggression. Too many intermediate guys, they'll stroll up to the bar, they take their grip, they get under the bar. Some of you are even using like a split stance where one foot is in front of the other. You take it out of the rack really gentle, you step back, and it's no wonder that it feels like an absolute brick on your back, because you're taking it out so soft, you're so loose. You need to be going up to the bar, and you need to be getting both feet under the bar. You need to be standing up with some force. Like when I personally unrack a heavy squat, mentally I'm just getting hyped up first. Then I'll get underneath the bar, I'm gripping it hard. I'm really pulling it down my back into position. And I'm standing up and I'm trying to literally like make that bar fly off my back. I'm taking it out with a lot of aggression. Even at a lot of my competitions and stuff like that, I will literally slam my upper back into the bar. I've probably got a video or something of it. And it's because I want to be connected to the bar. I want to put some aggression into it. I want to feel very sturdy, very rigid under the bar. I don't want to be taking it out all soft. And like, there's no surprise that you're trying to step back with a heavy weight on the bar. You're all soft and loose and wondering why it feels like it's going to crush you. You need to get under the bar with some aggression. So get under there, be rigid, take it out with some kind of force, and you'll be surprised how much different it feels on your back. It's going to make you feel so much more confident, and you're not going to feel like you're going to get crushed by it, okay? So once we've got that out of the way, the simple fix. Fix number 2, this one is a bit more complicated, is the programming, okay? And the reason why your squat will feel really heavy on your back and it doesn't feel any lighter is because you're not getting any stronger. If you were getting stronger, the same weight on the bar would start to feel lighter week after week, because you're experiencing adaptations and you're actually getting stronger. A good strength training program would have the weight feel at least the same week to week, or if not lighter. So to give you an example, like prior to my last competition when I squatted 247.5 kilos, I went 205 kilos on week 1, 215, 225, 235, and then at comp I squatted 247.5. And when I think back through that prep, most of those weights felt exactly the same on my back. If anything, the 205 actually felt pretty heavy on the week 1 because I was a bit fatigued. It was a fresh training block. And as I went through the block and I gathered adaptations and I became stronger, I actually felt best on that 235 squat. Like, that actually felt lighter on my back than the 205 did. And that's how a good strength training program should make you feel. The weight should start to feel lighter week after week as the adaptations take place, okay? So if that is not happening, we need to make some changes, okay? So what I would do is we need to kind of troubleshoot why the squat is feeling so heavy on your back. Is it an issue of fatigue, or is it an issue of stimulus, okay? So it's going to be either one of these two. Now, if you find that your primary squat, like your competition squat, your main squat for the week, is always feeling really, really heavy and it's not making progress, try and troubleshoot one of these two scenarios. So it's either that if the bar feels heavy on your back and you feel some fatigue, so maybe your back's fatigued, your quads are fatigued, you've got some knee pain, I would consider reducing the stimulus of your squat training a little bit, or maybe you need a bit more rest between your squats. So if you're squatting 2 days a week, and maybe you're doing it on like a Monday and a Wednesday, or Monday and a Thursday, for example, you might want to open that gap up to a Monday and a Friday or something like that. Now, on the other side of that, if the squat feels really heavy on your back, but you don't feel fatigued, you actually feel a bit understimulated, so you feel really fresh, you feel ready to go, but the bar still feels like it's crushing you, that's probably an issue of stimulus. So we need to increase the workload of your squat program a little bit. So you might need to add in an extra day of squatting. You might just need some extra work on the legs, or you might need to decrease the days between your squats. So again, if you're squatting Monday and a Thursday, maybe you move that to a Wednesday, for example. Now, I'll use my own squat as an example because I would say my squat is a bit of a unique one. So in order for me to feel strong on my primary squat, so my heaviest squat of the week, I need a heavy squat about 48 hours before this primary squat, okay? So I have my primary squat on a Monday, so that's when I do a top double or a top single. And I actually do my secondary squat on a Saturday. So 48 hours or less before that Monday squat. And my secondary squat is usually a top set of 4, and then I'll do 3 or 4 back off sets in the 60 to 75% range. Then I do another squat on a Thursday, which is a high bar squat. Now, I always had difficulty progressing my squat for years and years, and then I worked with my coach, and we found that having that secondary squat on a Saturday made me feel really primed on a Monday. Literally, my Saturday squats feel terrible. They feel so heavy on my back, but then when I come into a Monday, I feel like a different person. The bar feels weightless on my back, I perform really well, and I managed to get close to a 250 kilo squat using that approach. So you're gonna have to experiment. You might need a heavy exposure before your primary squat, for example, or you might be in the other kind of group of people who need a big break and you need to come in fresh on your primary squat. So you're going to have to troubleshoot a little bit, experiment, use that kind of framework that I gave you. Are you fatigued? Are you understimulated? And then you can start to move towards progressing your squat. Now, thing number 3, the final fix would be bracing. So this kind of relates to point 1, where you're unracking the bar quite loose and quite soft. But too many guys, especially intermediate guys, are not bracing at all when they squat. They're underneath the bar and their torso is just completely loose. There's no kind of tension here. A lot of you aren't even putting a belt on when you squat. Like, you don't need to, but it's going to help you. And bracing is very, very important when you're getting up to these heavier weights, because if your bracing and your positioning is poor at 2 or 3 plates, it's definitely going to be poor at 4 or 5 plates. You're probably not even going to get there. So a very simple way for you to kind of execute your bracing properly, you don't need to overthink it. When you're at the top of a squat with the bar on your back, you simply need to take in a big breath. I like to take it in through the mouth, and I want to fill my stomach with air. I'm thinking about filling my torso all the way around with air. So imagine this is like a balloon, and you're trying to expand it outwards all the way around. So I'm thinking this is expanding, the back is expanding as much as I can. I'm just trying to fill this with as much air as I can. So what I do, I take in my breath, fill my torso, I do the rep, come back up, then I exhale at the top. So I'm holding my breath throughout the rep, okay? It's called a Valsalva maneuver, and just very simple terms, that basically just means holding your breath like you're trying to exhale, but you're not allowing the air to come out, okay? That's a Valsalva maneuver. It's gonna increase intra-abdominal pressure and the rigidity of your spine so that we can transfer more force into the bar, and you're gonna feel a lot more rigid under a heavy weight, okay? So I'd fix that as well. So those are the 3 main fixes that I would do. I would unrack the bar with some aggression. I would fix your programming to ensure that you feel primed on your heavy squat day. Then I would fix your bracing as well. Now, I've got a couple pro tips to kind of close out this video. The first one, and this is probably the most important one, is I would just simply stop thinking about how the bar feels on your back to a degree. So the reason my squat got stuck for so many years was because when I got to a heavy weight for me, which is about 4 plates and above, was what I always classed as like where I need to kind of switch my brain on, I would always start to kind of feel the sensation of how the bar felt on my back. And to be honest, anything above 3 plates probably for me feels heavy on my back, but it moves like an empty bar if I go and watch it on video. And oftentimes I would rely too much on how I felt under the bar, how heavy it felt, and I wouldn't put more weight on the bar because it's intimidating to put a really heavy weight on the bar and feel like you're getting crushed. So when I worked with my coach, I had to take video more often and I had to be more objective, because I'd unrack a 200 kilo squat, for example, and it would feel really, really heavy, and I'd be like, oh shit, it's a bad day, I'm gonna overshoot. And then I'll watch it on video and it's flying, it's moving like an empty bar, so I have to ignore how I feel and just put more weight on the bar anyway. So that's one of the first kind of pro tips that I would fix. I would just try and be more objective. Don't rely on your feelings so much. Watch the bar speed, see how it's actually moving, maybe even get a friend to watch you as well. I really feel like this held me back for so many years, and if you take one thing from this video, that would be the thing that I would change, as well as obviously the programming and the bracing technique and stuff like that, okay? So thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope that it helps you to improve your squat. You can go hit multiple squat PRs. If you need a good program to follow for your squat, I've got one here on screen, a free one that you can go and follow. Or if you want me to write you an individualized squat program and I'll review your squat technique with you, top link in the description, or click the second link and there's some more kind of thorough paid strength programs as well. If you've got any questions on the squat, post them in the comment section down below. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next video.